Hello and welcome back to Section 101. I'm your host, Ronnie Decker, and today I'm joined by
Ben Lyle Schwartz.
We're going to be going over the predictions for the 2024 NFL season.
And if you like more podcast content like this, be sure to check out my Why I Love Bray Wyatt podcast. It is available on YouTube and Spotify. It's our most viewed podcast yet, so people obviously like it. And if you like more content like this, be sure to give us a look. Let's get right into this, Ronnie.
All right, we're going to start with the AFC, and we'll go right into our division winners. So in the AFC East, I have the Buffalo Bills. I think this is what most people will have this year. Obviously, the Jets are expected to have a great year if Aaron Rodgers can remain healthy. I just don't see them having enough weapons to keep up with the Bills. The Bills also lost Stephon Diggs this offseason, which is unfortunate, but Josh Allen, he's a gunslinger. He's going to get the ball out to all his receivers, and I think this team's going to have a really solid season.
Yeah, I have the Bills as well. I don't think this is much of a question. You can make a solid argument for the Dolphins. If they have a good year, the defense can start playing. Their offense is one of the most electric in the league. But if you look at up and down, even the Bills without Stephon Diggs, I think, are exponentially better than all the teams in this division.
For sure.
The Patriots starting Jacoby Brissett is a horrible decision. Drake May is so underrated. He should be starting games for them, but that's beyond the point here. The Jets have they have a good season. I don't see them going anywhere crazy. We'll get into that later. Moving on.
Well, I just want to say real quick, obviously the Patriots, they've announced that Jacoby Brissett's going to be the week one starter. I honestly think that's a good idea because we've seen a lot of these guys who have been thrown into situations that aren't preferable, like with the Patriots and last year with the Panthers and Bryce Young. Bryce Young did not perform well last year, and he's being called a bust currently, so I think that the way to go about young quarterbacks is to let them sit and watch a veteran, which Jacoby Brissett is. He's been pretty much a lifelong backup.
He's a tenured player.
But he's a guy who just continues to get signed. Jacoby Brissett's never not going to be on a team as long as he wants to play. He's a solid player. He's one of the better backups in the league. And I think it's going to be good for Drake May to sit behind him and watch a veteran play. And then we'll go right into the NFC North. In the NFC North, I have the Bengals coming out on top, a very uncommon prediction. I know the Ravens are favored heavily this year after they had a great season last year. This is one of the stronger divisions in football, though. It's up there. I think it's the second, and I'll get into the first one later, but you got the Ravens, who obviously they're a very good team. MVP Lamar Jackson last year. Controversial, but he was the MVP. This team is very strong. The Bengals, if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, I don't see many teams stopping them. Obviously, Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' father, so obviously the Chiefs aren't going to beat him, and the Chiefs are the next best competitor. The Browns are also in this division, an amazing defense, probably the best defense in the National Football League, but their offense is just slow, and they don't really have a solid solution at quarterback with Deshaun Watson down back under center. He just hasn't looked the same since all these allegations and ever since he left Houston. And the Steelers as well, another case where you have an amazing defense. You just don't know if the quarterback play is going to be there. Obviously, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields fighting for spots. I think they should have gone with Justin Fields, but I understand why they went with Wilson after giving a giant contract.
Right, the Contras have aligned. The Bengals are winning the AFC North.
Yes, sir.
I have three teams making the playoffs from the AFC North. I think the AFC is very top-heavy. There's not a lot of teams that can contend. There's just a lot of very good teams and very bad teams. The Ravens, they're a great team. I have nothing against them, but if the Bengals can stay healthy, they can keep Mixon, Burrow, and Chase healthy and keep T. Higgins.
Not there no more.
Where is he?
He's on the Texans.
Well, that makes the Texans even better, which helps for my pick. So, yeah, I mean, if the Bengals can stay healthy, they have a very good chance of making it very far in the playoffs. The Steelers, I think going with Russell Wilson was the correct decision. If Wilson doesn't play well, you have Fields as the backup. And then the Browns, a team I'll get into later, they're very, very solid all around. Moving on to the AFC West. I don't even think there's a question here. It's going to be the Chiefs.
It's the Chiefs.
All of the other teams suck. The Chargers maybe have a chance with Harbaugh. Other than that, no explaining is needed here. The Chiefs are winning the division.
I mean, obviously I have the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the best team in this division by far. A lot of people like the Chargers this year. I don't. I think they're going to finish last in this division behind a weak Broncos team and a weak Raiders team. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is a good match for this team. He loves to run the ball, and this team just doesn't have a good running
They
back
have
anymore.
Gus Edwards as their running back.
Yeah,
He's solid, but he's not great.
And Justin Herbert, let's be real, he's not like a run-first quarterback. He wants to throw the ball, and he's a great quarterback and a great weapon for this team, but I just don't think that they're a good fit together. I think this is going to be an experiment, and we're going to see how it works, but Jim Harbaugh's already had a chance to coach in the NFL, and it did not go well.
Yeah, the AFC West isn't much of a question, but a division that I also think is not much of a question is the AFC South.
Yeah, I mean, give me the Texans.
It's the Texans.
I love the
4
Texans.
for 4.
I love the Texans. I mean, CJ Stroud, obviously a great player. He's one of my MVP candidates this year. I think he's going to have an amazing year after adding a veteran wide receiver in Stephon Diggs to this team. We already talked about they got Joe Mixon. And did you see Cam Akers' plays in the preseason?
The dude is looking
After
awesome.
coming off an Achilles tear, he makes 3 spin moves in a row in the preseason game. That's insane. There's no way he should be able to do that. God is on this man's side, and he wants him to be back. Obviously, they have Nico Collins and Tank Dell, 2 younger wide receivers who are also very good. I expect a lot out of this team, honestly, and I think it's not even close. I think they're going to dominate the division.
Yeah, Collins had a fantastic year last season. Probably him and Stroud, the most underrated quarterback wide receiver duo in the league. You look at the top 2 guys on most teams in terms of the chemistry, the camaraderie, it doesn't come very close to what Collins and Stroud have achieved in such a short period of time. Other than that, the Colts, maybe Jaguars, maybe they have a better chance, and then the Titans just.
Hey, I like the Colts this year, honestly. They're one of my wild card teams. I think that if we can get a good healthy year out of Anthony Richardson, they're gonna be up there with one of those fringe teams to make
Yeah,
the
with
playoffs.
Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, they have chances. The thing for them is keeping Jonathan Taylor healthy. He hasn't had many healthy seasons in the NFL. That's a pretty big issue if you're going forward with the running back unhealthy against Jaguars and the Texans, who have had very good defenses historically. You need the run and pass game.
For sure.
But the Jaguars have a very good chance. Other than that, it is the Texans without a shadow of a doubt.
I mean, hey, I took a risk this year. I drafted Jonathan Taylor with my first-round pick in our fantasy draft. I personally think he's going to be one of the best players in the league this year at running back position. Unfortunately, he's not in the greatest situation for running game, but let's be real. It's Jonathan Taylor. We know what he can do. I watched him play for 4 years at Madison. This guy is impeccable. He can run at you. He can run through you. This guy is just amazing and should be one of the top targets for Anthony Richardson this year.
Yeah, moving on to the wild card teams. Ronnie, your first wild card team, what is it?
I mean, I kind of underrated this team this year. I didn't pick them to win their division, where most people are. I have the Ravens.
Yeah,
The Ravens. I mean, they were the team to beat last year. They came out on top in this side of the NFL, and they're just a great team. I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson, amazing. Shout out a little throwback to the channel, Z Flowers, a great wide receiver.
If you get that reference, you're an absolute OG. Thank you.
Yeah, Zay Flowers, obviously a great weapon. They're getting better. I mean, this was a younger team last year. Let's be real. And their defense.
And they have Derrick Henry this year.
Have
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. This is what I've been saying ever since that trade happened. Get ready for. You cannot stop. You cannot stop the read option with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. If you have the fastest guy at the quarterback position and the strongest guy at the running back position in the same backfield, what are you going to do? How are you going to stop that?
And on top of that, they're always exceptional defense. They never have. A lot of things to say is the Bears, the Jets, and the Ravens have never had bad defenses. The problem with them has always been the offense. It's always been that. And the Ravens, if they can finally put together, if they can stay healthy, and a guy like Henry can get injured pretty easily with his limbersome body, and if Lamar, obviously, if he continues to play at the rate he's been playing at, the team has a good chance to win the division entirely. We are 5 for 5. Can't we make it 6 for 6 is the question. My second wildcard team is the Browns.
I'm sorry, Ben.
We are not 6 for 6.
It's the Steelers. This might be a little bit of bias. I'm just a giant TJ Watt fan. This defense is, I think they have the best defensive player in the league. TJ Watt over Myles Garrett any day of the week. Give it to me.
Is that a little foreshadowing for your OPOY pick?
It might be.
It might be for me as well.
It might be. We'll see on when that comes out on Monday. Obviously, the Steelers' offense is going to be the question of this year. You're going to have to see a lot from Russell Wilson this year. The Steelers, they need good quarterback play. They haven't had it ever since Big Ben started to decline, I want to say 2018. Big Ben, I mean, obviously one of the greats, but they're going to have to hit the receivers. Russell Wilson and George Pickens are going to have to be in sync this year, And if that doesn't end up happening, I would not expect to see Justin Fields. I would not expect to not see Justin Fields starting week 5, 6. This team has 2 above-average quarterbacks, and one of them they're not.
And
using.
arguably 2 above-average running backs with Cordero Patterson and Najee Harris.
I don't know. Cordell Patterson's getting old. I prefer Jalen Warren over Cordell Patterson.
I mean, he can have a good season with the right pieces in front of him, with the read option with Fields and Wilson. There are chances for this team to make strides.
Definitely.
The thing that's holding them back is the division. It's, in my opinion, the strongest division in all of football. You have all 4 teams that could potentially make the playoffs. I went with the Browns as my second wild card team. Nick Chubb, if he can have a good year, he's going crazy. Having Jameis Winston on your bench is a little underrated because he's a guy we've seen play on some contending teams in the past, and if he can get some pieces around him, I think he can be very good. Amari Cooper continues to be one of the most solid receivers in the game, just year in, year out, no matter what he faces, puts up very good numbers. David Njoku is fantastic. If he can get the right quarterback connection, he's going places. And then Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford is a very underrated running back combination. Ford has had some good years in the past, especially when Chubb has been out with injury at times. You see Ford step up, and obviously we talked about the defense with Myles Garrett. It is very, very good. So I like the Browns. What is your third wildcard team is the question.
Said it earlier, I got the Colts. I mean, I just love this team. We talked about him for a little bit. Jonathan Taylor, he's my guy. Anthony Richardson, if he can stay healthy and not like try and get injured by running every single play, if he can throw the ball a little bit, which we saw his arm during college, I just think this team is going to make leaps and bounds better than they were last year when they had Gardner Minshew in the back.
Yeah, Ronnie, the Katras have not aligned. I have the Dolphins.
Oof.
The Dolphins, man, if they can
It's
get
the
a,
offense,
if they can get a defense, their offense in the playoffs could be potentially the most game-changing one in a long time. If you can have that big play potential with Tyreek Hill and Tua, there is a really good chance there to make some strides. Obviously, getting OBJ, I don't know what that'll play a role in, but if he can stay healthy and healthy in the mind as well, I mean, there's a lot of potential there. Jalen Waddle continues to be a very solid wide receiver, along with Raheem Mostert, who is a very good fantasy running back. Not only is he good in fantasy, he is very good in the league as well. We saw Devon Achane get drafted. He's a very good player. And the defense, you got Jalen Ramsey heading this team with Jordan Poyer as well. There are some pieces that if they can put together, will have a very good season. And if you're playing the Patriots and the Jets two times each, you have a chance to rack up 4 wins right there.
Yeah.
I like the Dolphins' chances a lot if they can put the offense, keep it healthy. Because if you let them get into the playoffs, they could potentially beat the Chiefs in my scenario.
I mean, look, this team is just so deep. You have Tua turn the ball over at quarterback, Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane at running back. Probably the best duo, the 2 best duos.
I would say that, yeah.
It's up there for sure. You got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Odell Beckham Jr., 3 amazing wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, probably top 3. Jalen Waddle, top 20.
Yeah.
Odell is a veteran presence on this team, I'll admit that, but he's going to help these guys, young guys like Braxton Berrios. Like, if that guy can develop, are you kidding me? This offense, unstoppable. And then Jonnu Smith, average tight end, obviously
Not crazy.
Not insane, nothing crazy, but they just have an impeccable offense. It's this defense for me. I don't know if they can keep up. I mean, Jalen Ramsey obviously is a great cornerback, one of the best in the league. Jordan Poyer, top 10 safety. Calais Campbell's getting older and older every single year. I just don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with young teams like the Colts.
Yeah, so now we're going to skip ahead to our AFC Championship game, and I have the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Houston Texans. There are very few players in sports in general that when it is time to go crazy, they do. And Patrick Mahomes is one of them. People doubted him at every step of the playoffs last year. The guy was consistently the underdog in his games. People didn't think he would win the Super Bowl. He did. The guy shows up when it's time to show up. This is a Super Bowl team. I expect them to have a bigger offseason than they did, but I didn't touch on them earlier much because they're in a horrible division, but this team is so good. If they can keep Rashee Rice healthy, Xavier Worthy was an absolute steal. Mahomes, like we said, just leagues above everybody.
Mahomes.
Isaiah Pacheco showed great strides during last season. And you have Travis Kelce, who is the most reliable tight ends in the league. And then you have the Texans. I might be overshooting here. I can see them beating the Ravens. I can see them beating the Bengals. If this team gets hot, we saw this with the Diamondbacks last year in the MLB, a young team that gets a lot out of beating a veteran team. And in my situation, you have the Texans playing the Ravens. If the Texans beat the Ravens, that's an automatic boost of energy right there. They can carry throughout the playoffs. You saw that with the Diamondbacks beating the Dodgers. It can happen again here.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, if he can lead this team, fantastic, awesome. I see this being a very good AFC Championship game. I don't see Patrick Mahomes letting up with the team he has right now. And Xavier Worthy is a game-changing player for this team.
Definitely. I have the Texans in the AFC Championship game. I'm going to stand up when I say this. Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' father. Joe Burrow will not lose to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs ever again. Joe Burrow will be the stopper. Joe Burrow will be Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes' Peyton Manning. He is the best quarterback in the league other than Mahomes. But he can beat Mahomes. I mean, we've seen it in the playoffs time and time again. He knows how to beat him. He can break the code. I don't know what it is. He just knows how to do it. I think he can beat the Bills for sure. I think Josh Allen is a flawed quarterback.
Oh, he's like the new Dak Prescott at this point.
He's Brett Favre. Well, he just loves to chuck the ball up. He doesn't care what happens.
But he consistently fails in the playoffs is what I'm getting at.
That's
here.
true.
He consistently fails in the playoffs.
That's true. But it's Josh Allen.
It's Josh Allen.
He slings the ball. There's no better comparison than Brett Favre. These three wildcard teams, Ravens, Steelers, Colts. Steelers and Colts, I think it's a little bit too early for them. Steelers are just... I don't think Russell Wilson has another Super Bowl push.
No, he doesn't. Neither does Justin Fields.
The Colts, they're just too young right now. Anthony Richardson, give him a few years. In 2 or 3 years, they might be up there. They might be up there.
They may be.
The Chiefs, like I said, Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' father. Joe Burrow is not losing to Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round, which is the situation I have going out. And then the Texans, you said it, Ben. This team is young. This team is amazing. CJ Stroud is one of the biggest, most promising players in the league right now. I think he probably has the highest trade value of anyone other than Patrick Mahomes.
Depends, though. He's in the right place
but
at
he's
the
so
right
young.
time. He's young, but he's been put consistently around players and in a team that can make him look as good as possible.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, I mean...
So, that
and the winner for that game... It's a little bit too early for me to put the Texans in the Super Bowl. I got the Bengals. I got the Bengals. Joe Burrow, in his first real season as a quarterback after coming off that injury, he went to the Super Bowl. And I think it's time for him to be back there again. I think they won this year, and they're determined to make it back.
Yeah, so me and Ronnie went 6 for 9 in the AFC. So the Contras were quite aligned when it comes to the AFC.
Check out the NFC.
Let's take a look at the NFC, yeah.
We're going to get right into it. We're going to go with the in the West.
The West.
I mean, this one I think they're going to align. It's the 49ers.
It's the 49ers.
This is not a real question. I mean, the 49ers are by far the best team in this division. I don't see anyone really beating them, anyone even comparing to them. This offense is amazing. I know they had struggles with Brandon Ayuk. They've seemingly figured that out with his contract. I mean, you got George Kittle, top 2 tight end in the league, just behind Travis Kelce. And I honestly think it's pretty close. I think Kittle might overtake him this year. You got this amazing defense led by Nick Bosa. I mean, they're just all around a great team, but they'll still find a way to choke in the Super Bowl if they make it.
Literally what he said. Moving on to the East.
Yeah. This one, it's 2 teams. It's the Eagles or it's the Cowgirls.
It's not the Cowboys. Dak Prescott is playing checked out this season. I've said this from the beginning. He knows full well he's not getting another contract. No. He's playing for absolutely nothing. The guy knows he has no contract waiting for him. He continuously fails in the postseason. They've already paid CeeDee Lamb. They're going to pay Micah Parsons. They'd be so stupid not to pay Micah Parsons. I have the Eagles.
Yeah, I got the Eagles too. I mean, they had the best signing of the offseason in Saquon Barkley. I mean,
he can stay healthy.
Look at who they've had. They've had Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift play absolutely amazing behind this O-line. And now you're putting Saquon Barkley, a top 5 running back in the league, in that position. What? What is he going to do other than succeed incredibly? Obviously,
get injured.
Yeah,
that's a concern. That's my one concern with this team. You put all your marbles into the jar of Saquon Barkley in the offseason. What if he gets injured?
Yeah.
What's going on then? There is nothing. They don't have DeAndre Swift to back him up. He's with the Bears.
Yeah.
And the Bears are a very good team that I'll get to later. I love the Bears this season, partially because they got DeAndre Swift, who is consistently awesome in Philly. The guy was consistent. He was never great, but he always put up good, sufficient numbers.
I mean, let's be real. It's probably because of this O-line. They have the best offensive line in the league. Obviously, there's some questions. Jason Kelsey's gone. Cam Jurgens has taken over.
What happens to the tush push now? The guy who just gets...
Let's be real. I don't think the tush push matters that much for the O-line. The real defining factor is that you have a quarterback that can swat 650 pounds in Jalen Hurts.
And Kenny Pickett at backup, which might be underrated. Because we saw last year the importance of the backup quarterback.
We saw it. We saw a little bit of sparks.
And last year, the importance of having a good backup quarterback was so important for these guys. Having Cooper DeJean at quarterback, I think is very, very good. White corners for life, everyone.
First one in 25, 30 years?
There's 4 in the league. I don't know the names, but there is 4 white corners in the league right now. Give it up. Other than that, the team isn't very flashy. I mean, they have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, but past that, you're going to have to rely on your top guys. But those top guys can't produce at such a high rate.
They always find a way, though. I don't know what happened last year. They just plummeted. I don't believe Nick Sirianni can lead this team as well as a guy like Doug Peterson could when they went all the way to the Super Bowl and won it with Nick Foles.
With Nick Foles, yeah.
With Nick Foles. I don't know. This team, they're going to find a way to decline at the end of the year, and I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff push. And then we'll go right into the NFC North. Another one.
This division is so good this year.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to spoil it for you guys. Ben is a diehard. He's a Packers fan, but he is on the Bears this year.
I love the Bears this year.
He's just
there's so much potential.
Anything
if this
to do with
team
the
works.
Bears. He drafted Caleb Williams in the 5th round.
It wasn't the 5th, but it was one of my higher picks because the value in fantasy is if he has a very good season. I have Patrick Mahomes on my team. I can pretty much get Caleb Williams off the ship for a very good price.
Patrick Mahomes with the number 1 pick. Do not take fantasy advice from this man. No. Anyway, let's get back into actual football. The Lions, they won this division last year. They didn't surprise everyone, but they just played amazing.
They had a much better season than people expected.
Yeah. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, amazing wide receiver. You have Jameson Williams, a guy who we haven't seen yet because of suspensions, and obviously not the smartest guy, but he's an amazing wide receiver. If he really shows out like he did in Alabama, I don't see many other teams stopping this one.
So you have the Lions?
The Lions.
The Cotros have the Lions. I have the Lions as well. This team consistently in a good division performs. They perform at a high level. Dan Campbell is the greatest coach in the last 20 years. The dude's personality is just awesome. It fits this team so well.
Bill Belichick?
Well, if you're talking about what we could be seeing the next couple of years, he has taken a team that really struggled, and through his mentality, through his ways, they've gotten places that I don't think people expected.
They're going to bite some kneecaps off this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, they will. And the team has so much. They're deep. Sam Laporta is a very, very good option at tight end who could develop into the league's best. Aiden Hutchinson, the dude is awesome. He consistently puts up great numbers. It's a very, very good team just all around.
Yep.
They're a solid. They remind me a lot of the Florida Panthers of the NHL. There's not one, oh my God, this guy's awesome. But collectively as a team, they're just so good.
Yeah.
They could win a championship this year, possibly. It's very reasonable.
They were a quarter away from making it to the Super Bowl last year.
They were.
It's gonna be close this year. I will go then into the NFC South.
It's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. It's between the Bucks and it's between the Falcons. And personally, I got the Falcons.
Yo!
I got the Falcons. They brought in Kirk Cochains this year. Bijan Robinson, obviously an amazing running back. Drake London, very underrated.
Top tier stuff right there if he gets a good quarterback, which
Definitely.
he does. He does have Kirk Cousins. He's not the best, but he's better.
Cousins, baby.
He's better than what they had with the revolving door of quarterbacks that it used to be over there. Penix as a backup, I like it. What they were trying to recreate essentially this year was Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins is not Aaron Rodgers. The guy is not him.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen, but Penix is still a good option. Kyle Pitts, awesome. Love that guy. He's fantastic. He just hasn't had the right system to play in. That's the thing with a lot of these guys. They just don't have the right system. Even Tyler Algier is a good number 2 as a running back. It's a good team in a bad division. The Saints they're fine. The Panthers suck. The Buccaneers,
the Saints are not fun. The Saints are horrible.
they have pieces. My point being, they have pieces.
Okay.
With Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Chase Young, Chris Olave. There are pieces on the team that if they can do something. The Bucs just they lack that big play potential with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. There isn't that connection there that I see with some of these other guys.
Yeah.
That's preventing me from putting them a little higher on this list. And as
I think-
a spoiler, they don't make the playoffs in my predictions.
Yeah, I think the Falcons had a pretty solid offseason with what they did. They made 2 mistakes in my eyes. Drafting Michael Penix
Yes, big mistake.
and hiring Raheem Morris. I really wanted them to go and get Jim Harbaugh. I thought he would fit perfectly into this this team. Because, again, like I said earlier, he loves his running backs. And look, they did not use Bijan Robinson at all last year. They didn't use him to any of his potential.
And the dude loves playing with younger players.
Yeah.
His whole career has been around college, and this team is super young. And you could have Kirk Cousins being almost that second voice of reason.
Yep.
Because as much you want to say about the guy, he has been a very solid quarterback. He just hasn't had the big playoff run we all expected from him.
Yeah, and hey, they brought in Grady Jarrett this offseason too. This defense, it's not going to be, let's be real, it's not going to be a top 10 unit in the league. It's going to be pretty good, though. I mean, you have a really, really good secondary with A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates, and Justin Simmons. Not a lot of passing is going to be going on against this team. Running the balls where teams are going to be really successful. Grady Jarrett coming off an injury, and in his 10th year in the NFL already, that's insane.
Yeah. Moving on to the wild card.
Hey.
I have debated the number 1 and 2 slots so many times.
You better not say it.
And I have the Packers as my number 1 wild card team.
Thank you.
I had the Bears 20 minutes before we filmed this, and I decided to change it. The Packers, as much as you want to say about them, they will find a way. They always find a way.
Yep.
Matt LaFleur, spoiler for later, is my coach of the year. The dude is fantastic. Argue anything you want. Matt LaFleur is fantastic.
Great
the
coach.
guy continues to get a young team places. Now, am I thinking, oh my God, this team is really good? Yes, I have them making the NFC Championship. They are a very, very well-rounded. They're a very well-rounded team. It's the thing. The thing that's preventing me from putting them in the Super Bowl is fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game. We're tied. Who does Jordan Love throw the ball to? There isn't a number 1 guy that's so reliable. Hopefully, Christian Watson can stay healthy this year. That's a possibility. But it's such a well-rounded team. Jordan Love obviously loves not having to throw the ball to one receiver. Matt LaFleur likes it as well. The defense, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way. Ronnie, how about you?
Hey, Devontae Adams is looking for a way out of the Raiders.
He is. All I'm
Homecoming?
saying, the dude is not. He's rotting away in Vegas.
Yeah.
Playing with Derek Carr. I guess he's your college quarterback, but that's not a good idea. Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's gone now.
Yeah, he's playing for the Saints. What is this man, Devontae Adams, doing?
He has no ties to the Raiders anymore. He
Ain't
wants
no
out.
Connell, baby.
Hey, if you watch the wide receiver documentary, you could see the man is not happy. He wants out.
Oh, yeah. He does.
Yeah. Back to this Packers team. They're young. They're awesome.
Do you have them as your first wild card team?
I do have them as
Yeah. God, just have a line.
Yeah, the Bears were not making my wild card for me. No offense, Ben. Not the biggest fan of the Bears. Partially biased. Yup. Really biased. Yup. I just don't like the Bears. But the Packers. This team is amazing. Jordan Love obviously had a great first year last year. They got 2 solid wide receivers in Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. 2 guys who aren't going to be like tier 1 wide receivers yet, but give them a few years after their rookie contracts.
And health, obviously.
And health.
Christian Watson is always a question.
And they finally got rid of my least favorite player in the NFL, Anders Carlson.
Yo!
Because that guy just completely sold the game.
He sucks. Do you see the Matt LaFleur quote of every time he goes out there, I just pray he makes it?
Yeah.
That's
not what you want to hear
That's
from
the
a-
approach
from
you
a
should
kicker.
not be taking with your kickers.
Yeah. Probably going to go for a guy like Greg Joseph, I believe, was their training camp.
A veteran kicker. Like, this team is so well-rounded. They have options at every position. They can go places. With my second wild card team, the Bears. Yes, sir. This team.
The Bears.
This team, all bias aside, as a Packers fan I am, they're so good. We talk about number 1 quarterbacks. We've seen it with Trevor Lawrence. We've seen it with Bryce Young. They walk into places where they're not fit. This man is walking into an absolutely electric electric offense that is so hard to come by in this league. Getting Keenan Allen in the offseason. Thank you. Romeo Dunze, an absolute steal. DJ Moore, a deep threat if he wants to go to it. And they got DeAndre Swift. And they have Cole Kmet. And they have a good defense. They have a really good chance of going far this year. Biden Caleb Williams plays well.
No. I mean, I can't really argue with you. The Bears are going to be good. I'm not going to put them in my wild card teams. I don't think they're up to par, and they're still really, really young and really old at the same time. I mean, Keenan Allen, how many more catches do you think you got out of that guy?
Well, he's still a veteran presence on a pretty young wide receiving core. And Romeo Dunze, god dang, that was a steal. An absolute steal for them.
I mean, it wasn't even a steal. It was just a great pick. I mean, the guy's impeccable.
He was the best wide receiver.
Should have a great season. My second wildcard team, unfortunately, if it wasn't going to be the Bears, I didn't want it to be this team, but I had to put the Cowboys in there. I almost hate them as much as I do hate the Bears, but the Cowboys, they find a way to sneak into the playoffs every single year. It doesn't matter if they suck or if they're really good. Even in that year where it was the NFC least, and they couldn't, they had 4 teams under 500, they still found a way in the playoffs. This team, Jerry Jones, obviously is going to find a way to get this team into the playoffs. Mike McCarthy has a fire lit under his butt. If he does not make the playoffs this year, his booty is out of Dallas, and they're looking for a new coach. There was rumors he was gone after this year.
He should be. He should be gone.
He should be gone. He hasn't done anything, but this is his last chance. This is it. If he doesn't make it, nail in the coffin.
Talk about last chances. My third wildcard team is also the Cowboys.
Hey,
as much as I do think Dak is going to be playing checked out this year, he knows he's not getting a contract. Mike McCarthy is going to have to be the savior of this team. He's done it before. He's made impeccable runs with good teams. The Cowboys are very, very good. From a statistics standpoint, they're very, very good. I just have concerns. CeeDee Lamb's looked awesome in the preseason and in practice. The last time we saw him playing with Dak Prescott in an NFL game, those two looked like they could not be further away from each other. Micah Parsons is fantastic. He is the best all-around defensive player in the league. Yeah. He can play any position. He can do them all well. He is going to lead this defense. He should get the biggest contract out of any defensive player in NFL history. And the Cowboys would be stupid not to do it because he is going to be looking for it, and he has the right to do it because he is that good. Yeah, I have them being my third wildcard team. I don't think they'll go far. They will get eliminated by the Bears. Yeah.
Sure. Next up, wildcard 3. I had the Rams. This team, they're pretty good. Let's not lie. They have two top 15 wide receivers.
If Kupp can stay healthy.
Yeah. A veteran quarterback who's
Jimmy G is on their bench, by the way. Jimmy G is on the bench with Matthew Stafford as a quarterback. Backup QBs for life.
Matthew Stafford, top 10 quarterback, arguably.
I doubt it.
9 guys ahead of him. Who?
Let's just go down the list here. Love is better.
Wow.
Goff is better.
Keep in mind, 2 months ago, this kid said that Jordan Love was not a top 10 quarterback.
He has changed my opinion. The way he's been playing.
From playing when? He didn't play in the preseason.
Have you seen this man in practice? The guy is. He's looking great.
Forget about it.
Brock Purdy is not top 10. Hurts, Prescott in the regular season, he's much better. The NFC South is just devoid of all quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, if he stays healthy, is better than Matthew Stafford. Josh Allen in the regular season, better than Matthew Stafford. Patrick Mahomes, absolute no-brainer. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa. Yep.
So you're going to put Tua in there, but not Justin Herbert?
He's playing on a team that he doesn't have many weapons with.
Whatever. This Rams team, they're just really strong. Decent defense.
Well-rounded.
Pretty potent offense. I expect Puka Nacua to be a top 5 wide receiver after this year. Decent running back with Kyron Williams. They're just like you said, well-rounded team. And I got them beating the Eagles in the playoffs. I feel like I said earlier, the Eagles, they just find a way to implode at the end of the season. So, yeah. I'll go right into our NFC Championship game. And I have the obvious pick. They make it every year, the 49ers. And give me the rematch, baby. Give me the Lions and the 49ers in there. And I'll tell you who gets to the Super Bowl after we have Benga.
So, my NFC Championship game.
If you say the Bears, I will kill you.
The Bears get eliminated in the first round.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
I have no clue what team. The Packers make it to the NFC Championship game. We saw them in the postseason last year. They were a good drive away from going forward.
They were a made field goal away from going to the NFC Championship.
Anders Carlson, get off the team now.
Thank you, bro. I love you so much.
Yeah, so the Packers make it. They don't make the Super Bowl because the team that makes the Super Bowl is the Detroit Lions. This team.
2 NFC North teams.
Yes.
I forgot to even say this. The NFC North is, in my opinion, the strongest division of football.
I doubt that because the AFC North has 4 teams that could potentially make the playoffs. The NFC North only has 3. But if you look at top heavy, the 49ers, they're good. The Falcons.
I don't know how you didn't put them in your NFC Championship.
The Falcons and the Eagles, they're fine. Brock Turdy. The Bears,
Come on, dude.
they're a good team, but they're not ready yet. And the Cowboys barely sneaking in by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
The Lions beating the Packers, and the Packers probably will make the Super Bowl next year if they have a good offseason. Yeah, very good team.
Hey, you're just a D1 Brock Purdy hater. I also don't.
I
have
was
him.
proven right last year doing the Super Bowl.
He didn't even play bad.
He didn't play bad. He was just
Patrick
outplayed by
Mahomes just
Patrick.
played better.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
No
People
one's saying-
doubted me.
No one's saying that Brock Purdy is Patrick Mahomes. All right. Well, anyway, like I said, 49ers versus Lions. Give me the Lions in the Super Bowl. I mean, I know you had the Packers. I know you love the Packers and everything. So do I. I can't see the Packers making as deep of a push as they did last year. I think they'll win in the wild card round. They'll beat the Falcons, so I have them going again.
I could see them losing to the 49ers.
I see them losing to the Lions.
Well, that's
how my situation kind of plays out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This team, they're really young. They're really good. They're just not ready yet. And then the Lions and Bengals, my Super Bowl matchup. The Lions comeback story. They sucked. Let's be real. Ever since Matthew Stafford left, they got Jared Goff, and Dan Campbell comes in and turn this in 2 seasons, takes his team from 2-12-1 to 2-13-1 to
a very, very good team.
A very good team.
Yeah.
Super Bowl contender.
A Super Bowl
obviously.
contender. Yeah.
And then the Bengals, who are coming off of a rough year where they lost Joe Burrow. He's back. If he can stay healthy this year, I don't see anyone stopping him.
Yep. Yeah. I like
my
it.
Super Bowl champion.
Don't say the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Oh.
Come on, man.
It's going to be
their
the
season.
Chiefs.
It's their season,
It's going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, the Bengals don't lose to the Joe Burrow doesn't lose to Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
They could very easily get eliminated by a number of these teams.
Bro.
The Ravens could beat these guys. I bring up health and also Patrick Mahomes. I know I've said this earlier. The dude consistently proves everyone wrong. He won the Super Bowl last year with, let's be honest, a very below average team. That team does not scream Super Bowl winner. He carried that team. He will carry them again. They will three-peat, and Patrick Mahomes, by the end of his career, will without a doubt be better than Tom Brady. He will be the GOAT. They're winning this year, but the Lions may win next year if they have a good offseason. I like the Lions, but the Chiefs are so good, and it's not even the Chiefs. It's just Patrick Mahomes.
The Glaze is kind of crazy. The Glaze
isn't crazy when he's won 2 in a row and people doubted him in both. So, yeah, that'll wrap it up for part 1 of our predictions. On to the awards.
All right, now the award prediction part of our show. We now have David Blazer joining us in the studio. So
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
So it's me, Ben, and David, and let's just get right into it. We'll start with, at the bottom, with the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I have Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner was one of the steals of the draft, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a great, great player. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot to say. We haven't seen these guys play, so we know that he performed well in college, and that's about all.
Yeah, I as well have Dallas Turner as my Defensive Rookie of the Year. I also have Chop Robinson on there as a potential, little upset pick. He would be my dark horse.
He was the most ready.
Yeah, he definitely was the most ready. I think his time at Penn State definitely helped him get a big boost in the draft, and the Miami Dolphins got a good pick out of him.
Yeah, for this one, I went with a little bit of an outside pick. I went with Byron Murphy. He's playing for the Seahawks, which is a very well-known defensive team. They've always had good defenses. He doesn't sack a lot. He lacks in the sack category, which is where the voters really like. But other than that, the guy is a dynamic defensive player. He's drawn some Micah Parsons comparisons, and that's always a good thing. And he's got a good defense, and like I said, a proven defense to go along with it. So I think he could be a long shot, but still a very, very good pick nonetheless.
Yeah, it really matters, the situation these guys are going into. Obviously, Dallas Turner going into a going into a Vikings defense, which isn't the best. He's going to have to be one of the better guys for that defense to be successful this year. Like you said, he's going into a favorable secondary where he's going to have a lot of opportunities to get to the quarterback. I know you said he doesn't have the sack numbers, but I think the time that the secondary is going to give him to get to that quarterback, he's going to put up some.
Yeah, I also have a Latu. Sorry for mispronouncing the name.
Yeah, UCLA.
He was the first defensive player taken?
He was the first defensive player taken. I think this Colts D-line is looking a little mean, and I think the Colts defense has shaped up this preseason. They had a couple missteps during their games, but I think that they can pull something together.
Yeah, for sure. I'll head next into Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's a few picks for this. If you've been listening to the rest of the podcast, you know who Ben's going to go with, so we'll just start with him.
Yeah, this was between two people for me. Marvin Harrison was in consideration because I think he could have a fantastic year, but it's Caleb Williams. Let's be honest here, guys. Caleb Williams is going to be the leader of this Bears offense. If he can put together a good season, we've seen quarterbacks get outplayed consistently at other positions, but get picked because they have the quarterback numbers.
Yeah.
My one doubt here is Marvin Harrison. Is he going to have the solid, consistent quarterback play with Kyler Murray? Hopefully, but it's a lot less. I'm a lot less confident in that than I am in Caleb Williams being surrounded by the offense that he has. We've covered it enough. I think he's a great pick for this award.
Yeah, I agree. I also have Caleb Williams. But my one concern with this is that they're putting a rookie who had a little shaky college season last year into a starting job in a potential tough division. I mean, the Bears got a lot of offensive weapons for him, so credit to the Bears organization. But in my mind, there's really no other choice besides Caleb Williams. I think it's pretty obvious, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't get Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Like David just said, there's no other choice other than Caleb Williams. I have to reasonably disagree. I have Marvin Harrison Jr. taking home the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. I think he's the best offensive player in this draft. I know you guys love Caleb Williams. I think he's great. But
I don't like Caleb Williams.
And it's a quarterback award too. Like we saw CMC put up an MVP season last year, but they picked Lamar because it was a quarterback.
That's MVP. Offensive Rookie of the Year is completely different. I mean,
okay, but
I feel like Marvin Harrison Jr. Who else is he going to throw the ball to?
Kyler Murray is basically a running back.
Look, Kyler Murray's. Let's be honest. Kyler Murray cares more about playing the newest Modern Warfare game than he does about playing football. But he has no one else to throw to.
But no, Murray runs basically as much as he throws.
The offensive scheme needs to change for what you need to say, but I'm not going to disagree with him being the best pure offensive player in the draft. You're not going to. It's very hard to disagree with that.
Look, there's no one else to catch the ball on this team. I mean, Greg Dortch, who? Michael Wilson, who? Trey McBride. I mean, mid last year, but
hey, I have him as my fantasy team.
Chris Moore. Who? Like, who else is getting the ball on this team?
Stop hating on the Cardinals, bro. They're coming in last place, but damn.
I'm not gonna lie, the Cardinals suck.
They do suck.
It's Kyler Murray, it's James Conner, and it's Marvin Harrison Jr. on this offense. Those three guys. Yep. Honestly, I would draft Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy just because he's the only guy to get the ball. This guy, I feel he's gonna have a good season, quite a few touchdowns, and that's why I got him taking home Offensive Rookie of the Year. Next, we'll head into Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, this one is highly disputed. There's a few guys that people go to, i.e. Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, or...
Just don't say Myles Garrett.
Yep.
No, I have Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett's in there, dude. I'm not gonna
Garrett. It's going to be Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, dude. I'm convinced.
I know you love
You're
those
going
two.
with TJ Watt,
I got my boy TJ Watt, baby. This is my guy.
No way, TJ Watt's
Wisconsin Badger alum. I love TJ Watt. I love the Watt family. I work at Culver's. We just started the JJ Watt value basket meal. Way too overpriced, don't buy it. But getting off the point a little bit, TJ Watt.
Not a good pick.
He's awesome. He's a captain on this Steelers defense. He's one of the best, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the league. Had the most sacks out of anybody last year, and it wasn't even close. And they still gave the award to Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I don't think he's going to win it.
He put up better numbers, though, than TJ Watt. That's why.
I don't care. TJ Watt's better.
But it's all about the stats.
But
stats get you the award.
But he sacked more.
That's one. That's
better.
One. That's one point.
Better.
That's
his job, is to get to the quarterback. I mean, TJ Watt is he's a great player. I love TJ Watt. I think he's taken home this award finally after deserving it 2 years in a row.
I think Myles Garrett's going to win it again because he is clearly one of the best defensive players in the league. And he gets to the quarterback plenty of times. He has pressure on the O-line, and he's just a threat to everybody on the offense.
Like,
You can't escape him.
I'm not gonna deny that he's not an amazing player, but he also like throws helmets at other people. So
He does. That's one of his faults.
Yeah, I did not expect all three of us to pick a different person, but I have Micah Parsons.
hey,
I as well have
look,
Michael
look,
Parsons.
it's
just to
these three
mention.
guys. It's these three guys.
It's
Let's be
them
real.
three, but Micah, you think of his situation, the dude is literally playing for a contract.
Yeah.
He's in
Yeah.
the Aaron Judge situation where this season is gonna dictate where his next contract goes.
62 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at they paid CeeDee Lamb, they probably won't be paying Dak Prescott.
Yeah, no
Micah
chance.
Parsons, if he has a good year this year, could drive up his stock and price significantly, even if he doesn't choose to stay with the Cowboys. The guy, if he has a good season and if he goes DPOY, the guy could just get like he's the best all-around defensive player. He can play any position. He does them all well, and he's got the extra fire under him this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I was a defensive coordinator, the number one guy I would want would be
Micah Parsons
Would be Micah
He's the
Parsons.
most versatile
Yeah.
player.
He'd be on my
and
watch
he's still
list.
so young. Like, how is this guy still on a rookie contract?
Yeah,
He's
I don't know.
amazing. Like Ben said, I wouldn't be surprised if this thought of a bigger contract like the fire under his butt. He overperforms. Then we've seen him be already great in his career. So
Imagine what he could do if he actually goes crazy this
Yeah.
year. We've seen him put up
Yeah.
crazy good numbers. Like the sky is the limit for this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my one concern would be that the fact that he is playing for a contract, can Dallas, with all the contract extensions and renewals that they're going through in the upcoming seasons, will they have enough
But
money?
that's the whole point. Is does he want to stay in Dallas?
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
wouldn't. I would want to stay in
wouldn't stay
Dallas.
in
They
Dallas
can't
either.
win. He's
But
the-
then can other teams pay for him? You know,
Yes.
Dallas is such a rich.
I would be freeing up all the cap space to
Yeah.
get the best defensive player. Like if you said
Of the generation, honestly.
any defensive
Good- yeah,
coordinator
good
would
point.
go crazy for this guy. He's so versatile. You can use him in any position. And
he's just great.
But then you're giving up too many players to get one.
That's
or
true.
giving up three to get
But
one.
you get three players
But you
in
get-
one
you go
with
for the
Micah
star power.
Parsons.
That's a good argument.
The
I would
NFL is
say.
just about star power. Like
I guess,
you go
yeah.
and get these guys. You have to have a rounded out team, but like if you get a guy like Micah Parsons on your team who can play
Yeah, you're right.
positions, I mean, it's over. Next, we got the offensive player of the year. I think we're probably going to sweep across the board. I don't know.
CMC.
CMC.
I have Tyreek Hill.
So close. So
Okay,
close.
because my argument is I have CMC in as my MVP. He's in one of my
Wow.
MVP slots.
Wow.
Okay. If he doesn't win
Hey,
MVP,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
if he doesn't win MVP, he's winning offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
That
Look,
is for sure.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing as last year. It's either going to be
Tyreek Hill
him-
has too
him
many
the
kids
MVP.
to keep up with this.
Yeah. Look, Tyreek Hill is awesome. He's going to be the number one target in a potent Dolphins offense. We talked about that in the first half of this video when we talked about the Dolphins and their hopeful playoff run. They have a really good offense, and Tyreek Hill leads it, obviously. But I really like CMC. You know, he's the best running back in the league. It's not even close. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's a PPR nightmare in fantasy football, might I mention. He's just the best player right now on offense.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, his stats proven across the board. I mean, he absolutely killed every team he played last year with the Niners. That was a great move by the Niners to pick him up from where it was Carolina. Carolina? Yeah, that's just now he's just I don't want to say blossomed, but he's turned
balling
in.
out, dude.
He's balling. Yeah, he turned into one of the greatest probably running backs in the last 10, 20 years, I would say.
And if this guy can stay healthy, it's over for the rest of the league.
I would just say don't overthink it. If he has a healthy season, he's the best offensive player in the
Easily,
league.
yeah.
The question is can he stay healthy?
Yeah.
And that's a question that
Look, he's been healthy these
he's
past
been
couple of
healthy the
years
past
on
two
49ers.
seasons. When he made the move to the 49ers, he stayed healthy, but there's always that lingering question with him. Even in fantasy football and regular football, will he stay healthy? Because indisputably the talent is there, but he's the Mike Trout of football.
Yeah.
One of the greatest players ever, but he can't stay healthy.
That's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think he's a little less injury prone than Mike Trout. He doesn't get hurt that much, but he still has some injury concerns.
Yeah, so I have CMC as well. Just don't overthink it.
Yeah. All right, comeback player of the year. This is really between two guys,
Yep.
Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
I have Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow, he's awesome. You'll see in a couple of predictions where I have him in the MVP race. He's up there. He might be there.
What the heck, bro? Joe Burrow's not an MVP contention guy.
I love Joe Burrow. I think he's the best. He's Patrick Mahomes' father. Joe Burrow's the comeback player of the year. He's going to be amazing this year.
I got Aaron Rodgers.
Fair.
If you talk about a guy that continues to prove just everyone wrong, If he can stay healthy, and that's going to be a big key, he's playing on Monday Night Football again.
Against the same guy.
Who sacked him. Yeah, he got traded. So you take a look at the NFL is at this point setting it up to be their highest viewed first quarter in a very long time. I have Aaron Rodgers. He has all the pieces. He made this team his. He's the GM of this team. It perfectly suits his play style. If he stays healthy and everyone around him stays healthy, the Jets will find success and he'll win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a 50-50 toss-up. I could go, depending on how the season goes, I could go Burrows or Rodgers, but I think at the current moment, I think it's going to be Rodgers for me. I think, like Ben said, he just owns this Jets team, and I feel like if he stays healthy, like we know he can, he's done it with the Packers for plenty of years. Aaron Rodgers is a deadly weapon. He is one of the best players in the NFL and probably one of the best quarterbacks of our generation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Next, we'll head into Coach of the Year. I have Matt Eberflus of the Bears. Look, I hate this guy. I think he's one of the worst coaches in the league. But this team is going to go from the last place in the division to probably a really strong third, or a weaker second. I think. Look, I know you guys are laughing at me, but the Bears are going to take a big jump this year. And I know, Ben, you've been talking about it. David, you even said with Caleb Williams. You guys love this Bears team, and they
I
look
just
really
don't
good.
like the coach.
Look,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Eberflus sucks.
Eberflus is horrible, but if his team jumps up a lot, then he's gonna get the Coach of the Year, man.
I think it really depends on his team. If his team
does,
doesn't
yeah.
perform, then he's going to fall, crash, burn, get thrown to the dog.
Yeah, look, Coach of the Year has never been who's the best coach in the league. 'Cause otherwise, Andy Reid and Sean McVay and Bill Belichick would have won it every single year in a row. But it's about the team who improves the most. We've statistically seen that.
Yeah.
Last year, it was DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah, it was D'Amico Ryan. I had
and
D'Amico Ryan's on there,
Fantastic,
too.
Of the
fantastic
Texans.
coach.
And he took this team from nothing to something, and that's what I think.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if it's something yet.
Oh, it will be
What are you
something.
kidding me,
Trust
dude?
me.
This team-
Oh, we don't know
All
yet.
right. Yeah, for
team's
me, the awards between three people, it's Andy Reid, Matt LaFleur.
Look, but how can you pick Andy Reid? Like I just said,
If this
he
man
would've won it.
three-peats with the
If he
team he
competes,
has,
yeah.
he's we talk about Bill Belichick. Andy Reid is
But the
slowly
award,
reaching
the award
that
is given
level.
before the.
It's
before-
regular season,
It's
but
regular season,
This is-
and the award is given before
regular
the Super Bowl.
season
It's
football
not the
builds up.
It's not the most flashy team that he won the. He's such a talented coach. The team is not great. He finds ways to make him great. I didn't go with him. I went with Matt LaFleur. It was either him or Dan Campbell for me because if the Lions are as good as I predict them to be this year, Dan Campbell is a big part of that, and he always will be. Matt LaFleur is awesome. He's a way better Packers coach than Mike McCarthy at this
for
point
sure.
in time. I think he works perfectly with the players. Jordan Love and him get along so well. I think if this team is good, Matt LaFleur is going to be a big part of it.
But LaFleur and Campbell, both, if they were going to win, it was going to be last year. No one expected anything out of the Packers. They sucked at the start of the year, and they came back to winning the
I thought
winning a wild
LaFleur
card
could have won
game.
it.
And then they did. I'm sorry. Dan Campbell takes a team from like 2-13-1 to like average
The Lions have
to number one to the end, to
significantly
a quarter
improved.
away from the Super Bowl in 2 seasons.
Yeah, they
Dan Campbell-
significantly improved.
Yeah, I mean, last year was just a great those 3 coaches were just amazing.
yeah. Blazer, you said you had D'Amico Ryans.
I do, but
2
another
years in a row.
I do, but another one that I have is
Wow.
Jim Harbaugh.
How, can you win Coach of the Year 2 years in a row? Does that
It's
happen?
possible.
It could be.
Has that ever
It's
happened?
possible. I mean,
It could be. I mean, this Texans team is like pretty good. I had them
You'd have to
winning.
go from like
They're winning
0-6,
the AFC South.
0-17 to like 9-8 to 17-0. I think.
I mean, no, this team is gonna like make a deep playoff run this year. I'm thinking divisional is minimum. I'm hoping they can even get to the championship, face the Chiefs, hopefully defeat them and go to the Super Bowl.
we have the exact same matchup, by the way. I have
Okay,
the
thank
Chiefs.
you.
I have the Chiefs
Yes.
beating the Texans. So it's about that. I like
See,
D'Amico
it
Ryans.
makes sense.
D'Amico Ryans was
Look,
awesome
D'Amico
last
Ryans is
year.
great. But how can you win Coach of the Year two years in a row?
That's a good
all I'm
question. But if anyone can do it, it's this Texans team that could. They
Yeah.
overperformed last year. They could overperform this year again.
Yeah, but then like, are the higher expectations? Like, what are the expectations this year that they
That's-
didn't have
yeah.
last year?
I mean, what did we? We didn't do this type of video last year. I don't believe because we were just getting started at the channel. But I certainly didn't have the Texans winning the South. I
No,
had them
me neither.
No.
3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I had the Colts winning actually.
Yeah.
Yep, they're a good team. So speaking of good teams, good players, the MVP.
The MVP.
Ronnie, what you got?
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. I don't
Not
think
Joe
you guys are
Burrow.
gonna have this.
Not Joe Burrow.
It's not Joe Burrow.
Okay,
he's
that's
up
good.
there for me. I think he's gonna be great again this year. You're talking about D'Amico Ryans and the Texans.
Not CJ Stroud.
Look, if you want D'Amico Ryans to win Coach of the Year 2 years in a row, CJ Stroud has to be the MVP.
He has to win MVP.
Not happening.
He has to.
CJ Stroud. Let me just pull up his stats.
The guy's fantastic. While you're doing that, I have Patrick Mahomes. The guy, if anyone can do it, it's him. I have the Chiefs 3-peating this year. Patrick Mahomes is going to be a big part of that. I really like you talk about a guy that can make something out of nothing. His team is not great. It's not flashy. It doesn't have the most talent. Isaiah Pacheco is his running back. It's not to say he's bad, but he's very, very he's good.
Yeah.
Mahomes again.
You love Mahomes.
MVP.
You love Mahomes a little bit
I
too
like
much,
him.
Ben.
Okay.
I stand Mahomes and the Bears this year.
As a Chiefs fan, because my mom is a diehard Chiefs fan.
Yo, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Walk out of the studio right now.
I think Patrick Mahomes, as long as he,
Bye, guys.
Here's the only thing: if he three-peats this, then he is going to win. If he doesn't, then I don't think he's winning it. I have Lamar Jackson as another one. I think Lamar can go back to back. This is a stretch for me, but I don't know. And then obviously, CMC, if he performs like we all expect him to, then he can put up an MVP.
He had such a good season last year. He would, like a lot of guys talking about, would have won that award last year, and that was CMC's year to win it. So Ronnie, CJ Stroud, right?
Well, they gave it to
CJ
a
Stroud.
big boy quarterback
Last year, 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks in his rookie year. And his team is only getting better around him. Tank Dell, another year under his belt. Nico Collins, another year under his belt. D'Amico Ryans as a head coach, another year under his belt. And his defense, again, is going to be so good this year. It's going to give him so many more chances to drive down the field and score more touchdowns. Not to mention he was one of the better rushing quarterbacks last year, telling 167 yards. Obviously didn't get that many chances, but when he did, didn't do bad.
No, okay, I want to say this real quick. 7 quarterbacks were ahead of CJ Stroud in passing yards.
Last year, again, but he was a rookie.
Jared Goff,
A rookie.
Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Mahomes, and Love. Purdy and Love were 2 quarterbacks that were almost essentially in their rookie seasons, first full starting seasons. And they definitely outperformed CJ Stroud, in my opinion.
CJ Stroud's an MVP candidate.
No,
I will
give you both whatever you want if Patrick Mahomes wins MVP this year. I do not
All
see
right,
that.
thank you. So I do
You got
like
it on recording.
Your thought of like if D'Amico Ryans wins Coach of the Year 2 years in a row, Stroud has to win MVP. So it's a very reasonable point. But yeah, I think that's all we have. Is it not?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah, that's it.
this is a great episode, guys. I mean, our first one doing this for the NFL.
Yeah.
If you like this episode, please consider subscribing or following us, depending on where you're listening. If you're on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. We got some long form and short form content coming out weekly. If you're on YouTube, check out our Spotify where we post all these long form podcasts. And wherever you are, check out our Instagram and our website, section101.org, up and running. Yeah.
And we are going to be doing weekly recaps of the NFL in podcast form every Tuesday of the NFL season. So look forward to that. Just 20-25 minutes of us giving our big takes on the week. And if you like this format of us going over our predictions, we will be reviewing our MLB season predictions and reacting to those at the end of the year with Charlie Ronsky, who was a great guest in the beginning. So if you like that, be sure to check that out. It's coming out at the end of the season. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening to Section 101. See you next time.